We have our favorite relationship and love expert back, Monique Kelley, to help us spring clean our love and relationship life. Monique, thank you for being here. Welcome back.
So good to be back. You look beautiful, Britt.
Thank you. You look gorgeous as well. And I'm loving the hoop earring.
Yes, thank you.
Working it. She's already got that spring glow. I see it.
Yes, I do.
So, Monique, I would love for us to start off with a topic that really does apply to everybody: spring cleaning your friendships. Give us the tips. I feel like that can be the hardest thing to try to deal with.
Oh my goodness. Toxic friendships and friendships that are shifting. You figure we've been in the middle of a pandemic for 2 years. Now we're in the middle of a war. There's so many things going on, and there's been a lot of time for self-reflection, which also includes friendships. So I always talk about when you're single, a lot of times your friends call you more because they know you don't have a significant other, especially if you don't have kids. So they always assume you have a lot of time. And we have those friendships where it's draining. Perhaps they're friends that are in toxic relationships themselves, and they call you constantly with what's going on, which is a great thing. That's what friendship is about. But you'll spend hours and hours and hours on the phone with this person, and then they don't follow any of the advice. They do what they're going to do anyway. And all that time that you spent counseling them could have been spent with you working on yourself and enhancing yourself. So you have to be aware of that. Those draining friendships, those friends who are in toxic relationships that aren't taking the necessary steps to get out, those friends who are low-key haters, those friends who are not, we all have those low-key hater friends. Okay. And we are aware of it, but sometimes I think we see the good in people, or we want to see the good in people, similar to how we are in relationships with men. You know, you want to see the good in them, but you have to know when it's time to let go. Or those friends who were missing in action when you were at your lowest points, those gossiping friends that it's all about what's going on, what he said, what she said. It's time to set boundaries and let go of that and focus on friendships that bring you joy, friendships that see who you are, the depth of you, that respect you, that you enjoy being around. I think that's so important as you think about relationships in general, so that you have great friendships as well.
Oh my gosh, that was so wonderful. Yes. Like, what a great little spring refresh. Get the dust bunnies out from under the bed in our friendships. Just look at everything, put it on the table. Do you have any tips for setting those boundaries? Like, for example, let's say with that friend that you love, but they do always call you with the toxic relationship drama, and you want to stay friends with them, but you need to draw some healthy boundaries. How can people do that?
You have to learn how to be okay saying no to them and yes to yourself. So what does that look like? It sounds good in theory, but what is a tangible act in doing that? So sometimes if they are calling you and blowing you up, a lot of times you're worried about them. You want to pick up the phone. You want to be there for them, but you already know what the conversation is. It is okay not to answer that call every time it comes in. It is okay. You might even want to send them a text. Hey, focusing on me today, or I'm in the middle of something. I'll call you back when I have a chance. Setting those boundaries. When those conversations come up that are always happening and it's that loop, it's okay to say to them, listen, I know you're going to do what you ultimately want to do. I support your decision, and just kind of nip it in the bud right away. It doesn't have to be anything mean, but you start to teach them how to understand your boundaries. They will know, they'll see that whenever they're calling, you're not always available. You'll call them back when you get to it. It doesn't make you a bad friend, but it makes you start setting healthy boundaries, and then they have to start respecting it.
I love that. That is such good advice. We just got to, keep those boundaries refreshed. And speaking of boundaries, this kind of reminds me of like the MIA friend, but it's sort of the MIA relationship. Tell us about Ghostbusters. I love that.
Yes.
Who are you going to call?
Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters, listen, don't judge yourself. Everyone has that relationship or that person that they really like, okay? But this person never follows through. This person is very shady. You know, they rarely set dates. You're always the person calling them. You find yourself calling your friends talking about, I think they like me, but they don't call me back. Do you think they're going to call back? Here's a general rule of thumb. Whenever you have that feeling of, I'm not sure if they're going to call me. I'm not sure how they feel about me. I don't know if they like me. With both men and women, when a man wants a woman, when a woman wants a man, it is very clear. You never have doubt. Doubt typically means they're not interested. And a lot of times people will have someone kind of laying in the background in case their current situation doesn't work out. So it's time for you to stop making excuses for them. You know they're not into you. It has nothing to do with something you've done wrong or you not being good enough. It's just not clicking. So stop trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. When they finally call, which is every once in a blue moon, as you know, you don't always have to answer. Don't make plans with them if they're not moving forward with it. Learn how to let go and keep it moving.
So good. It sounds like a lot of this is really like refreshing our boundaries with ourselves as well. It's like, we have to just stay on course, keep our self-worth up because these things can take you off track, waste your time. Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants that.
Nope.
Time is the one thing in life you never get back.
100%. Well, and speaking of time, we do have a little more time now to go outdoors, enjoy a little bit of nicer, warmer weather. How can people be open to new possibilities in their daily life and their dating life? Like, how can we just get that oomph back?
You know, I said this over and over again. We have gotten used to the elastic waistbands. I love having wine at home because I can pour a big glass without that 400% markup that they have at the restaurants.
Right.
But
oh my gosh.
it's so good. It's so good. Or maybe it's bad because I pour a lot of it. But it's time to get out. I mean, we no longer have the excuse of the pandemic. And I think we have gotten used to and putting ourselves in a rut of being in the house because that's what we were supposed to do for 2 years. Now, I'm not saying go out there and be unsafe and, possibly get, COVID. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is things are opening up. So let's say you work from home a lot and you don't have a heavy Zoom call day. Get out, go to a cafe, go to an outdoor restaurant or outdoor area where there's people or you can people watch and work there. I tell people do at least 2 happy hours a month. We're starting with baby steps. 2 is doable. That's 2 in a whole month. Okay.
I love
do
that.
At least 2, right? Get yourself out there. And also I tell people find a hobby that's fun, that makes you get out the house. That's fun. Do sports or exercising, do things like that force you out the house. And most importantly, I'm giving everyone an assignment for the month of April because, March is almost over.
Homework.
The assignment is this. You have to go on at least 1 date before the end of the month. It can be with someone that you're not. Don't you like that? Because it doesn't be someone where it's like, this is my future husband or my future wife. It can even be someone that you're not sure about, but at least you go out there and you get a practice date in so that if you do meet someone that you like, you've gotten that one practice uncomfortable date in there so you know how to act on the real date. Or you never know, maybe you might go out with this person again and you might see something in them that you didn't see before. So 1 date, that's doable. 1 date by the end of the month.
That is so doable. And, making friends and being social, that's also all kind of a part of dating. Like, you don't have to fall in love with every person. You could just look at it like, I'm going to go to dinner, meet someone interesting, have a good conversation,
Yes.
See where it goes.
You've heard those stories of people who've gone out on dates with someone. They didn't necessarily click, but they might have introduced them to someone later and they clicked. You never know. You never know.
You never know. Exactly. Yep. Well, thank you for reminding us to stay open, change up our routine a little bit, get our mojo flowing. And Monique, where can everyone find you? Get all of your info, your book, your blog. Tell us all of it.
All the good deets.
All the deets.
So my IG, that's where it's popping. That's at Cocktails and Confessions. That's my IG. My website is confessionsofaSerialDaterInLA.com. You can go and see all of my old blog posts from years ago, just talking about all the fun dates. And of course, my book, Reality in Chaos, is available at both Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
So fantastic. I get so much entertainment from looking at your blog and following you on Instagram. So BZen ladies, come on, join us. Okay. Well, Monique, thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you here. As always, we really appreciate your tips and advice.
Thanks for having me, Britt. I feel like we're soul sisters already.
Oh, we are. I agree. We are.